What's going on, everybody? It's the Hook Cam back again with another film breakdown. Not really in this situation. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a series where I'm going to be going through each draft class for each team, and we're going to be taking a look at their picks and seeing how they fit into this team, kind of what this team's direction is going to be in the next year, and just kind of my opinions on the draft class. That's all it's going to be. It's just going to be a little bit of fun. That's all we're trying to do. Once again, we're in quarantine. I'm stuck. I don't have a lot to do, so I'm watching a lot of football film. So obviously, we're going to start off with the Cincinnati Bengals, but before we dive into that film, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to the Hook Cam, my channel, and then of course also Jackson Kruger Sports if you're not already. Jackson Kruger Sports pumped out about 20 videos on draft night at round one. Absolutely insane. I don't know how he did it, but he found a way and he did it well. So with all that being said, let's dive in a little bit to this Bengals draft class. Obviously the first pick, Joe Burrow, and really I guess before we should even dive into that, this team obviously has a ton of holes to fill. They have some holes on defense. They have a little bit on offense. But I think the way that they're kind of going about rebranding this thing is a very, very good way to do it. And we have to remember last year, they picked Jonah Williams in the first round, who's going to help tremendously on this offensive line. Right, they released Cordy Glenn. They bring in a guy like Xavier Su'a-Filo, who's got a lot of NFL experience. I think he's going to be a good guard for the Bengals, and he's going to help shore up that offensive line. I think that all of those things are heading in the right direction for the Bengals. They're not going after a running back. They know that they have serviceable backs, but instead they're going after the quarterback, and they're making sure that their boy Joe Burrow has the weapon. So they keep a guy like A.J. Green. They got Tyler Boyd in the wings. They draft a dude like T. Higgins, who we'll get into in a little bit. They go and they sign an undrafted free agent like Mitchell Wilcox, who I think might be a sleeper to make this team. So first and foremost, Joe Burrow. What do I like about him? Well, I made a video on Joe Burrow, and I'll try and link that here so you guys can see it. But first and foremost, the thing that I love about Joe Burrow, quarterback one energy, right? This dude reeks of quarterback one energy, the swagger, the towel, the preparation, the on-field, everything about him oozes confidence, and there's nobody else that I would want to lead my organization into a new era than Joe Burrow, and I'm not kidding about that. He's my favorite quarterback prospect over the last couple of years. My favorite that I can remember in recent memory, to be honest with you. And his decision-making on the field, and again, at LSU, they did make things easy on him. Their pass concepts weren't insanely complicated, but a lot of times he made great throws like this against Texas, right? We got a backer, safety, and then another safety on this side of the screen that we can't see. Joe Burrow's going to put this ball right on the money for 6, right? Against Alabama, right in that Alabama game. He had throw after throw, big play after big play where it was like you need it to be made, and he's dropping this ball in the bucket on hole shots. National championship game, we got a seam out of our slot guy, high pointed, lofted back shoulder, tough ball to throw. Every throw that kid needed to make, he made, and he deserved to be the #1 draft pick, and I'm excited to see what the Cincinnati Bengals can do with him. Rumor has it that he's been working for the past couple of months with Zach Taylor and with offensive coordinator Bill Callahan. Hopefully that's going in the right direction, and he's ready to go for the season, because I really think that this kid could be special, and I think he is going to be something special in Cincinnati. I think that they're going to build something around him, and it's very indicative with this draft that they just had. Moving on to their next pick, and this was almost a little bit of a steal to me, and that's T. Higgins, right? And we look at T. Higgins' footwork off the line of scrimmage. This kid is talented, very, very talented. And this was a really good receiver class, and I think because of the other talent at receiver, he ended up falling a little bit, right? CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs. But we look at a clip like this against South Carolina. Excuse my toolbar at the bottom there. We look at a clip like this against South Carolina. Quick jab step, but he's not releasing inside. Outside route, so he's releasing outside. Good job from him. Simple stuff like that. Very basic, but he does it right. He does it well. Over the shoulder catch. It's everything is in his wheelhouse. Check out this play right here. He's right here, stretching this field, right? We got a safety who's going to be dropping back. What I love about this, though, once he gets to where that safety is, he doesn't keep running here into other traffic. Not that there will be. In the NFL, there might be another safety coming across right here, but he stacks this safety and keeps coming upfield. Now, that's chemistry between quarterback and receiver, but both of them were on the same page last year, especially with Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, we know how talented he is. But I just think that T. Higgins at that second spot is just such a steal. I'm shocked that a team like the Packers didn't go get him. On top of everything he can do off the line, and once he is catching the football, yards after the catch is something that he excels in too. Look at this nifty little move he puts on 6 in the South Carolina game. Little back juke from NCAA. See you later. I mean, this kid is special, I'm telling you. And off the top of his route, he stems guys. He's been working against press. How about this right here? I'm an O-line guy. Stuff like this gets me fired up. Blocking downfield on a draw. Stuff like that is awesome. I think that is such a steal for the Cincinnati Bengals team in the second round. Now, the third pick that they end up taking is Logan Wilson from Wyoming. And this is when we start looking at that defense, right? That 4-3 defense. And I think about the great 4-3s. And the first team that pops into my mind is Seattle, back when they had the Legion of Boom. Okay, now that defense was predicated on having a front four that was going to get after the quarterback. It was a dominant one tech, right? And you look at a signing like DJ Reader. Okay, now is he, dominant of one techs? I mean, he's big. He's 347 pounds, I think, according to the Bengals roster. The dude is a monster. And then you have a three tech, an athletic three tech like Geno Atkins, who's going to get after guards. He's going to get after the quarterback. It's going to be really difficult to run power, run your counter. It's tough to pull when you have a dude who's as good as Geno Atkins. But behind that defensive line and those edge defenders, you got to have linebackers who can move sideline to sideline, who can chase down plays, who can sniff things out. And that's what I like about Logan Wilson. Coming up here on this screen, making a play, right? The next couple of clips we're going to see, it's going to be him scraping over the top of offensive linemen, chasing this thing down, right? These are against good running backs, and it's going to be obviously a lot faster at the NFL level, but I think he's got a good nose for the football. He played good football at Wyoming, and there's going to be an adjustment phase for him. But again, I think that this is another good pick in that third round or second. I believe it was the start of the third where they grabbed him. Good pick for him. And again, this is one of those things where you're like, damn, it could be a little bit of a steal. And then on top of everything he can do with his run stopping ability and his coverage ability is very good as well. Right, he's got the speed to drop into deep coverage in zones, I should say, not like a safety, but very athletic guy. And I think that was another good pick for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now we move on to this next pick, Akeem Davis-Gaither from Appalachian State, and this was an interesting pick for me because athleticism just seemed to be the name of the game for the Bengals. Here he is lined up at the edge of the line of scrimmage here, and a couple of clips we're going to see him lined up here. We're going to see him lined up 3 yards back. We're going to see him lined up 8 yards back. This dude lines up all over. Now, the athleticism for him, again, is it's a key point, right? The South Carolina is going to run counter here. So we're pulling with our guard. He's supposed to kick out on 21 or 24 here, whatever Davis-Gaither's wearing. And he's going to come upfield. And usually when a guy like that comes upfield, this play is going to go because we're going to work out and then our back's going to cut it up underneath. But Davis-Gaither does a great job of getting up far enough and then dipping right under that and getting his arms in there for a tackle for loss. Great play from him. And we see this time and time again with this athleticism. And here's another example. He's lined up on the edge of this line of scrimmage. Not necessarily a phenomenal play from him, but just the fact that this coaching staff for this Appalachian State team that was 7-1, 8-1, ranked top 25 by the end of the season, they trusted this kid to line up everywhere. And once again, the name of the game for the Bengals defensively was athleticism. And we see a lot of that with Akeem Davis-Gaither. Here's another example of him. He's just working on this H against University of South Alabama, my Jags. The quiet plug for my NCAA dynasty. We'll get to that later. But this H is supposed to be working up on Davis-Gaither. I keep getting his last name mixed up. He just olays this guy and then squeezes down on this thing for a tackle for loss. Again, the athleticism, name of the game for the Bengals defensively in this draft. I like both of those linebackers that they picked. I think Logan Wilson is going to end up being that guy who's going to be an every down linebacker for the Bengals. I don't know if he'll take the spot of Jermaine Pratt. He might end up playing a little Will, little Sam, depends on where he fits in once camp rolls around. Now, this is my sleeper for the Bengals. Khalid Kareem from Notre Dame. This dude is just an absolute freak. Look at this play here. This tackle's supposed to work down on this. They're just running a really simple inside zone, but instead of him getting walled off and worked upfield like what happens with most edge guys, he knifes right under this thing for a TFL. I mean, that's just a special play from Kareem, and he does this time and time again. We see here playing against Ball State, we're going to have a read option here from Ball State, right? And he's the read guy. And he does exactly what you're supposed to do. Well, not exactly what you're supposed to do, but whatever Notre Dame's doing, he's doing it right, working upfield. So this is going to be a give key for the quarterback. Now, he squeezes this thing down and makes the play. That's a tough play for a lot of guys to make. And he comes down and makes it no problem. And this kid can get after the quarterback. He does a great job with his pass rush, good with his hands, good job bending the corner. And again, this was my sleeper here. And this tackle definitely isn't taking the best technique. Obviously, he's going to do well against tackles who aren't as athletic as he is, but he's a very athletic dude and somebody who I think is good with his run fits and he's good at squeezing gaps, so I don't see him him as just a third down pass rusher. I see him as molding into somebody who can take over at that edge spot, maybe if Carlos Dunlap is gone, or whatever may happen. Here's an example here with this triple option, and once again, he's the read guy. He's coming upfield. This is a quick read we're going to give to this fullback on the dive. He squeezes it and makes a tackle again. This kid is just a supreme athlete. Very excited to see what he can do for the Bengals. Now, moving on to this next pick, I'm an O-line guy, and I really like this kid, Akeem Adeniji from Kansas. He's playing left tackle here, so we got our center, guard, and tackle. He's just going to work down on this down block here and just maul this dude down the line of scrimmage. He does have a couple of issues in his pass pro. I think his heels get a little too close together. In this example here, he's opening his hips a little too early. I'd like to see those shoulders and hips still square to the line of scrimmage, but he does a good job of getting nose to nose with this defensive tackle, taking away that inside spin move. He's athletic. You can tell watching his tape that he's a pretty good athlete, and I really like this pick for the Bengals. Hopefully trying to develop him into somebody who could be a starter for them. Here's an example here, and I love the way this kid run blocks, right? I think that he does get his base a little bit skinny. We can see it right down here. His feet are going to be a little too close together, tight roping it a little bit, and we can see that defensive end's going to spin off and make a play, and in the NFL, that's going to happen every time. So that's definitely something for him to work on. But again, easy fixes. Those are things that you can fix, right? And here he is again, skinny base when he makes contact, but still does a good job of driving and moving dudes upfield. Now, the last pick for the Bengals, Marcus Bailey, a linebacker out of Purdue. Again, very rangy guy, very athletic, very good in coverage. I don't think he's as physical as Logan Wilson, but still, he's a good football player, man. Played in the Big Ten. He's going to have to come up and make some run fits. But one thing that really stuck out to me was this coaching staff was not afraid to put him in space, was not afraid to match him up with athletes, was not afraid to drop him into zone coverage. So that tells me that this dude's got some sneaky athleticism, moves decently. I don't think he moves as well as Logan Wilson, but again, we can see the theme that the Bengals are trying to push with these guys. And again, with Marcus Bailey, he had a number of interceptions in his college career. You look him up, you look at his highlights in his game film. He does a good job. Here's an example of him closing on a comeback from Missouri, taking that thing to the house. I had to cut the clip a little bit. Don't want to get in trouble from YouTube. But with all that being said, that is going to be the last clip for the Bengals. A couple of UDFAs that I do want to mention. They signed a number of them. Really, the one that I did want to point out was Mitchell Wilcox from University of South Florida. I think with that tight end position open for the Bengals, he could be a sleeper to make this roster and possibly make a splash. So anyway, guys, with all that being said, that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed this little draft recap for the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals fans, I hope you're excited. I really like this draft from the Bengals. I think that they got things moving in the right direction in a very competitive AFC North. So that's all I got for this video, guys. That's all I got for you today. I'll be back with a Redskins draft recap coming up next. Once again, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to the Hook Cam as well as to Jackson Kruger Sports, that would mean the world to both of us. So with all that being said, guys, hope everybody's staying safe. Hope everybody's washing their hands. And that's all I got for you today. I will see you next time.